Hi and welcome back to my channel for a new art journaling video. Today I'm working with the Distress inks and also with the Distress Oxides in my watercolor journal. I haven't used any gesso on the page, it's just the plain watercolor paper, and as you saw I have already spritzed it with a little bit of water before I go in with the brush and the ink. You don't need the Distress inks or the oxides to create this art journal page. You can just pull out your normal watercolors and use those, or you can use, for example, liquid watercolors such as the Acrylic inks, or you can even use your Neocolor crayons and scribble them to your glass plate and use those. I'm playing very intuitively on this page. I just planned that I want to add my focal point on the bottom left corner, and so I will start spreading the paint from there in a diagonal line to the bottom right corner, if that makes sense. But I'm going very intuitively. I try to keep some white space because this makes a page much more interesting. I try not to overdo it. I will list all the colors I've used and all the other supplies in the description box. There will also be a link to my blog where you can find photos of the projects for every video. When I have leftover ink, I use the left page on this journal and apply it there randomly, so I have something to start for another art journal page. When everything is dry, I am spritzing some water with a brush onto the background, and then I let it sit for a few seconds so that the ink can be reactivated by the water, and then I pick it up with a paper towel. This will also work with other watercolors, but maybe not in the same way, and it could be that the splatters will not become as intense as they are here with the Distress inks. I dry the background again with my heat tool, and then I'm going in with the Distress Oxides together with some background stamping. I'm using the Distress Oxides here because they are opaque in comparison to the Distress inks, and they will pop up more from the background. But you don't have to use the oxide inks. You can use any stamping ink you have to create the texture. Any other pigment ink, for example, will work in the same way and will be also opaque. The stamps I'm using are of course all from my store. For those of you who are new to my channel, I am the owner of Rubber Dance, and we are selling red rubber stamps They are super high quality because they are not laser cut, they are vulcanized, and this gives them a very deeply edged surface and very good stamp impressions. For my main image, I'm picking a butterfly that I have embossed to vellum. The vellum was colored with alcohol markers. I have a video tutorial for that on my Instagram TV channel, and I will link this up in the description box so you can check that out. It's a really fun technique. It's super easy, and if you have alcohol markers laying at home, it's a great way to use them. Before I'm gluing down my butterfly, I want to give him something to sit on. So I picked the leaf stamp from our Crazy Flowers, and I stamped them with the Versafine Clair Ink. This ink is my favorite ink when it comes to stamping on watercolor paper. It's waterproof because it's oil-based, and it also has a resist against watercolors, so you can color in stamped images very easily because the watercolor will run off your outlines, and that's really nice. To make the page look more cohesive, I'm stamping the leaf also to the top right corner, and then I'm pulling out the Distress Oxide ink. I believe it's the peel paint to color in the leaves. I'm using the Oxide ink because it's a pigment ink, half a pigment ink, and it's opaque, and so my leaves will pop off the background. And of course, if you don't have Distress Oxides and you may be working with watercolors, you can, for example, use a green watercolor and mix it a little bit with the white watercolor, and so you get also a kind of an opaque paint to color in your leaves, and they will also stand out from the background. When I'm working with distress inks or oxides, I always use the lid of the ink pad as my palette. For that, I'm pressing the ink pad firmly together when it's closed, and then when you open it up, you have some ink on the inside of the lid to play with. I always love to have splatters on my page, so of course I will also add some to this page before I glue down the butterfly. And for that, I'm using the Distress Oxide spray. I'm happy that I have found a way to use it finally, because I have no idea what to do with it, and I have tried it several times, and I never like the result, and I also don't enjoy the process working with these sprays, and I will definitely not buy those again. And of course, you don't need to have these ink sprays to create the splatters. You can just use watercolor mixed with white watercolor, or you can use Neocolor crayons thinned down with water and spritz those to your page. I also add some black splatters with a black acrylic ink spray, because my butterfly has this deep black embossing, and I felt that I need something black on the page as well. For my sentiment, I'm using the Mix a Sentiment stamp set again. I've used it already to create that word texture on the background, and I picked some pattern papers from my stash. I thought that the peachy one matches the page very well, and I stamp as much from the stamp as I could to this page so I can cut out many words and use them on different projects. I'm gluing down the words with a simple glue stick, and then I go in with a black fine liner to give every word a frame. And I will also use a black watercolor pencil and add a shadow to each word. This makes them pop even more from the background. This was my art journal page for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope we see us next time. Bye!